From movies to anime and games to comics, we've seen this iconic sword, but how did it come to be? Well, in this video, we'll be covering how this weapon became the most recognizable blade in human history. It's a weapon so sharp it could split a hair, yet so resilient it defines the destiny of an entire nation. But the katana wasn't just a sword. To the samurai, it was a living soul. A physical representation of their honor, their discipline, and their status. But the katana didn't just appear out of thin air. It evolved through centuries of bloody warfare, Mongol invasions, and a transition from a brutal tool of death to a high work of art. Today, we're stripping away the Hollywood mist to uncover a 1,000-year-old evolution of the world's most iconic steel weapon. From the straight blades of ancient Japan to the masterpieces of the Sengoku period, this is the true story of the katana. Long before the iconic curve, Japanese swords were actually straight, known as chokuto. These early blades were heavily influenced by Chinese and Korean designs. They were piercing weapons, meant for foot soldiers to jab and thrust. But everything changed during the Heian period. Warfare moved from the ground to the back of a horse. If you're riding at full speed and try to hack at someone with a straight sword, the vibration is devastating. It can literally shatter your wrist or the blade itself. This led to the tachi. It was longer and worn with the edge facing down, and featured a deep curve. This curve allowed the blade to slice through a target rather than just hitting it, utilizing the natural momentum of the horse. The tachi was an elegant and effective sword, but it was about to face a trial by fire that would change Japanese metallurgy forever. In the late 13th century, Japan faced its greatest threat, the Mongol Empire. When Kublai Khan's forces landed, the Japanese warriors realized their elegant tachi blades had a fatal flaw. The Mongols wore boiled leather and light metal armor. Against these hardened defenses, the thin Japanese blades were just not cutting it. Japan needed a sword that was tougher, shorter, and faster. This era gave birth to legends like Musamune, perhaps the greatest swordsmith in history, who was also the one who crafted the 100 Musamune. He perfected the art of differential hardening. By wrapping the blade in different thicknesses like clay before quenching it in water, smiths created a sword with a dual nature, a flexible, shock-absorbing spine, and a diamond-hard edge. This process created the hamon, that beautiful wavy line you see on the edge of his blade. It isn't just a decoration, it is the literal DNA of the sword's strength, allowing it to stay sharp without being brittle. But how did they actually make a blade that could survive a Mongol invasion? To understand the katana's lethality, we have to look at the magic of Japanese metallurgy. It starts with the satetsu, or iron sand. Because Japan lacked high-quality iron ore, smiths had to invent a way to turn imperfect sand into perfect steel. For 3 days and 3 nights, they fed a clay furnace called tatara, creating a glowing bloom of steel known as tamahagane. The smith then takes the steel and begins the legendary process of folding. By folding the metal up to 15 times, they create over 30,000 microscopic layers. This doesn't just look beautiful. It hammers out impurities and distributes carbon evenly, preventing the blade from snapping like glass. But the real secret is the core. A katana isn't just one piece of metal, it's a sandwich of steels. The smith wraps a high-carbon, razor-sharp outer jacket around a low-carbon, flexible inner core. This creates a paradox, a sword that is hard enough to hold a diamond-sharp edge, yet flexible enough to absorb the bone-shattering impact of a battlefield strike. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a masterpiece of ancient engineering. As the nature of war changed again in the 15th century, the katana took its final form. Combat became fast. It moved from open battlefields into castle hallways and urban environments. The tachi was simply too long and slow to draw from its scabbard. The katana was designed to be shorter and worn thrust through the belt, edge up. But why? By doing so, it allowed samurai to draw the sword and strike in one single fluid motion. This gave birth to the art of Aido, the technique of the quick draw. During the peaceful Edo period, katana became a badge of office. It was paired with the shorter wakizashi to create the daisho, a set of blades only samurai were legally allowed to carry. The focus shifted from purely utility to incredible craftsmanship. The guard, the hilt, and the scabbard became canvases for some of the finest arts in Japanese history. Whilst the quick draw was perfect for duels, the 15th and 16th centuries brought a different kind of challenge: the Sengoku Jidai, or the Age of Warring States. This was a 100-year civil war that turned Japan into a meat grinder. In this era, the katana faced its ultimate stress test. Armies grew from a few hundred noble men to tens of thousands of soldiers. The demand for swords skyrocketed, leading to the rise of specialized war schools, or ryu. This was the era of the most famous swordsman in history, Miyamoto Musashi. He realized that in the chaos of a castle siege or a forest ambush, the katana was the ultimate tool for survival. Warriors began to customize their blades, changing the length, the weight, and the curvature to suit their personal fighting styles. Because the war was so constant, smiths had to innovate again, creating the uchi katana, a rugged, mass-produced version of the katana that could withstand months of non-stop campaigning. The sword was no longer just a badge of rank. It was the difference between the general's victory and the warrior's grave. In 1876, the age of the samurai officially ended when the carrying of swords in public was banned, but the katana refused to die. It transitioned from a weapon of war to a symbol of national identity. Today, traditional tamahagane steel is still smelted in foot-powered furnaces. Modern smiths in Japan are designated as living national treasures, keeping a 1,000-year-old tradition alive using the exact same methods as their ancestors. They spend months folding steel thousands of times to remove impurities, ensuring that every new blade carries the weight of history. The katana is a paradox. It is a weapon designed for the most violent acts imaginable, yet it represents the pinnacle of grace and discipline. It is a reminder that even in the heat of the forge, beauty can be found. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more history. And also, what's your favorite historical weapon? Let us know in the comments, and maybe we will also make a video on that too. Thanks for watching.